Hey guys, welcome to Critical Flick. Today I'll be reviewing the series Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu. So I had previously reviewed the first few episodes of Under the Banner of Heaven, but I've been following it each week, and I feel like actually it's gotten better and better as the series has gone on. Like I said in the first few episodes, it's really setting up the characters. You're really understanding how the story is unraveling. Though it is based on a true story, obviously, some little moving parts that maybe they interjected, for entertainment value. But it really is interesting how compelling the show has become. So in the show, Andrew Garfield plays Detective Pyrie, and he's trying to solve this mystery of a murder that happened involving the Church of Latter-day Saints, and particularly a very influential family called the Laffertys that are in the region. It takes place in Utah in the 1980s, and it really is a true story. He did a really good job of capturing who these people were and some of the information that was going on behind the case, because the thing is, this show has a ton of twists and turns, and it actually does flash back and forth to the beginning of the Mormon Church to the present day. And it does that. It really does set up some parallels, because you're seeing how Joseph Smith and how some of the early founders, whether it be Brigham Young, kind of shifted what Mormonism meant, what the Church of Latter-day Saints was, and how the family of the Laffertys, particularly the sons, really start to devolve into these old ways, these old thoughts that are really corruptive and really, obviously not acceptable in today's Mormon church, and that conflict between those early days of the church and the modern Mormon church. One of the interesting things that the show does that a lot of, documentaries have done revolving around the Church of Latter-day Saints is how the church is constantly trying to cover it up. They're trying to push that aside. They're trying to not acknowledge that this is the past of the church. They want to move past it. They want to, kind of have it like that never happened. But then you have these fundamentalists that are pushing polygamy and some of these other things that don't look so good in the modern day world, and how that conflict rises up. And you see that in the show. Detective Pyrie going to his pastor, going to the leaders in the church around his community, and they kind of tell him to don't ask these questions, don't talk about it, just ignore it. But he really wants to get to the bottom of it, and he has this conflict of faith and conscience because he wants to be a good Mormon man. He believes in his church. He believes in all the good things that come with his church, but then he's conflicted with some of the bad things in the past and trying to get past those things. So I have to say, Andrew Garfield's performance is the shining light in this, but I do think a lot of the supporting roles were really good as well. Sam Worthington as Ron Lafferty really took off in the last couple episodes. He's someone who has really lost everything in his life to this point. He had a family, he had children, he had everything that he could want, businesses, and it all comes tumbling down, and it throws him into this almost cult-like mentality of fundamentalist, Latter-day Saints Mormonism, because he doesn't have anything left to lose. He thinks that he has now become the ultimate, Messiah. He's become the prophet, and he's the one chosen one to lead the church into its, glory days. So he's really devolving. He's a character in the beginning that's very almost likable. He seems like the one that maybe is most level-headed of all of them, but the parts of his past, his abuse with his father, and all the things happening drive him into this almost insanity, this cult-like mentality, which ultimately leads to murder. Wyatt Russell as Dan Lafferty is also really good. He's a very similar situation. He's someone who feels like he's become power hungry. He's becoming the Messiah, like I said. It almost turns into a cult mentality, and that's one of the things that really builds this show up, because in the beginning, you kind of see where it's going. It's a little slower. It's like kind of setting up the characters, but then once you see the real rabbit hole that these people have gone down and kind of the almost, like I said, insanity of everything that's happening, it just gets it's just so compelling. There's a lot of tension. You just know that things are just coming to a head, as you've seen with cults throughout the past, as you've seen with people that get into these extreme fundamentalist religions, that it really can just go spiraling out of control, and it definitely does that in this show, and in real life that did happen. Daisy Edgar-Jones was really good as Brenda Lafferty. Obviously, she didn't have as much screen time as some of the other characters. In the first few episodes, she's in it a lot more, but I feel like the last episode, they really gave her an ability to show this woman as like a strong individual, someone who is, fighting back against these men that are pushing her down, they're oppressing her and the people around her. They wanted to just be like sister wives and just give in to all their whims. But she stands up to them, and I like that they gave her a strong moment. Whether we know that happened in real life or not, I do like that she wasn't just washed away quietly. She didn't just take it, lying down. She stood up for what she believed in, and she did it all the way into Gil Birmingham, who plays Detective Pyrie's partner, Andrew Garfield's character, also had some really good scenes in the latter part of the show, because he's someone who is an outsider in this community. He is a Native American. He doesn't have any real relationship with the Church of Latter-day Saints, so he's not, clouded in his thinking of the case. I do like that his relationship with Detective Pyrie really grows and helps them learn from each other. They learn to really embrace who they are as people, maybe not give in to some of their biases. Especially the last episode, you really see him stand up and talk about his heritage and his people, and how you can see different sides of every coin. You can't be just clouded by what you think but maybe what the reality of the situation is. All in all, I thought it was a really good series. I did enjoy it. I do think it definitely picks up after the first few episodes when you're able to establish who these characters are. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of twists and turns, but I think the production design was really good, capturing the era that's taking place as well as going back to the early days of the Mormon Church. I was really kind of surprised that they decided to do that, but I do love that it sets up these parallels and where things are going with these original founders and then the modern day Lafferty family, how they're trying to emulate them, and you see kind of the same pitfalls that were in the past are starting again in the modern day. So I did like how they were able to do those two things together. Like I said, the acting is really good, the cinematography solid. There's a lot of powerful messages about religion, about family, about understanding who you are, self-discovery, and maybe being involved in something bigger than yourself. So I do like there's some really interesting messages that capture really how it is to feel in these situations. So those are my thoughts on the mini-series Under the Banner of Heaven. If you checked it out, let me know what you thought about it. Did you stick with it the whole series? I definitely, towards the beginning, I didn't know if I was really going to continue enjoying it, but as I kept going, it just got better and better in my opinion. I think all the acting, like I said, was really solid, and that really carried the show. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.